Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Stephanie Liu, and welcome to LinkedIn Live, Lights, Camera Live. We're doing something really cool and interesting today. I think you're really going to enjoy it because I've got my good friend Dan Willis on the show, and we're doing a vid chat, tweet chat, plus a LinkedIn Live just to see how it's going to work out. So having said that, let's go ahead and flip the screen. I want to introduce you over to Dan because he's amazing and he's fun. So here we go. Dan, say what's up to everyone.
What's up to everyone? Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. Okay, so Dan, this is pretty much like your vid chat that's happening on Twitter right now. So for those of you that are interested, if you want to watch here on LinkedIn, we're having LinkedIn Live, or you could follow along the conversation on Twitter using the hashtag vid chat. Is that right, Dan?
That's exactly it.
Cool. So Dan, tell us, what is vid chat?
So the idea with VidChat was there's a lot of people talking about video and how important it is and how wonderful it is. And then probably just as many people going, but we're afraid of it and don't know how to use it and how to use it properly. And so Twitter chats, for those of you that don't know, are just quick conversations where people meet up once a week for an hour, and just dive into different topics around some larger topic. So VidChat is all about teaching people how to use video a little bit better. And we've done just about everything now, from YouTube and TikTok to LinkedIn video. But live video is one that we haven't really had the opportunity to dive into. And people kept saying, Stephanie is the person I have to do it with. So here we are.
Sorry, go ahead.
We were in Twitter for a second. I was making sure that my screen didn't switch over
No,
back.
I know. Yeah, I wanted to switch the screen real quick just to show the Twitter feed. So give me a second. I want to try that real quick. And then when I just want to move this over, that way it shows the both of us. And then let's see here. Go ahead and say something.
Yeah, so I mean, what you guys are seeing down.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's reversed. Down
Don't
there.
worry about it.
It's just everybody plugging in. What I really love about the Twitter chats is it's international in real time. So we get kind of feedback from people all over the place, where we already have people from Portugal showing up. We've got people from Africa that show up regularly. Of course, North America. EU, it's a little bit late there right now, but even occasionally we see something from, Portugal's kind of in there, but from the UK specifically, we usually see some people in there too. So VidChat today, we're just going to go through really an overview of foundational stuff for live video, and then also how we can probably help some people that are maybe intermediate with it kind of tackle some topics and some understandings. Now, Stephanie, I know you come at it from a very different place than I do. My live experience is mostly from Twitch when I was in esports and gaming, and that's a very different animal from probably the live content that you put out. So I'm excited to have that difference of culture.
The dynamic, yeah. Well, this is cool. So let me go ahead and set up another screen in Ecamm because it looks like there you go. Okay, and for some reason when I do this, it's not playing the audio. So I'm just going to use this sparingly. So that way whenever you want to go ahead, and share something on the tweet chat, just let me know and I'll flip the screen. Cool beans?
Yeah, cool beans. Just everybody's showing up and saying hi, and everybody's crazy pumped that Stephanie's doing LinkedIn Live at the same time. So I love seeing the people really do. It is possible. For all those who say people don't play on all the networks, you're wrong. Everybody's playing everywhere, all the time, especially with video.
I know, this whole
Mike Alton's
omnipresent
over
thing.
here. He's excited for Stephanie to be here. Okay, we are here. Question 1. So let's switch over to Twitter real quick. First question of the day is up. And the question is, live video is taking off. Which platform does it best?
Ooh, good. Okay, so the answer that I had for this to share with everyone was pretty much the fact that every platform has its own unique features. It's best, honestly, to use the one that meets your needs because they're all very different. But I would say generally for Lights, Camera, Live, Facebook is the best platform for the show, mainly because the whole entire ecosystem gives me that opportunity to pre-promote the show, to get people fully engaged, to engage with people in real time and have those comments coming through, and also leverage the advertising piece of it. So for those of you that want to retarget your audiences and build that, then that's why I love I love Ecamm for that. And then if you have any questions about that, we could totally expand on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that. My answer was Twitch, obviously, again.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because Twitch was built on live stream. That's all it ever was. It was never a YouTube. It never had photos or anything else. Its backbone was very much live video. And what I love about it is you see so many of the other platforms starting to adapt and adopt things that they're using over there. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about, previews and premieres and yes, I'm glad that Facebook is getting those things, but Twitch is kind of sitting over there like, we've been doing this for years.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
Got it.
And I love that there's so many people, because people will say that like live streaming is new, and it's like, well, it's new to Facebook, it's new to LinkedIn, but yes, to your point, other platforms like Twitch have been banging out like forever. They've worked out the kinks. They've built this amazing community. Like even when I was at VidCon and they were talking about like Patreon and all these different ways that you could monetize, I was like, what? That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. So honestly, I mean, to answer your question, which one's the best? It really depends on what your needs are, because everyone has different audiences that you want to tap into, and it has different features.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, what's the data? Where's the data to back up which platform is the best? And I think you've nailed it. There is no data that's going to overarch every community everywhere. It's got to be bigger than that for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try this one more time. For some reason, as soon as I switch the screen, the audio goes out. So let's try this, and then we'll see if it works out. Cool? So give me a second.
Cool.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
For some reason, the audio completely goes out. But you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. One second.
But they can't hear us.
Okay, cool. On to the next question.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some people that are posting. If you guys want to answer as well yourselves in the LinkedIn chat, we are watching on LinkedIn. We are watching on Twitter. And it's really interesting to see that depending on where you are, there's a lot of different platforms that are coming out for live video. Instagram has popped up here. TikTok has come up, which is interesting because you've got to earn live on TikTok. That's not pay gated, but it's definitely you've got to have the rep to earn that live feature on TikTok. So I mean, yeah, I'm pretty excited about all the different tools that are working its way out. You obviously have LinkedIn Live. Most people, that's still beta, right?
Yeah, it's still beta, and I mean, I didn't get in on my first try. Let's be honest. Like I had to apply more than once, and every time that I applied, I looked at the first answer. I'm like, okay, what is it about this first answer that they didn't like?
Yeah.
And then I would switch it up to say, this isn't for me. This is how I can contribute to the LinkedIn Live platform and the features and make new connections and make new content there. So the stuff like even what we're doing right now is completely different from what I do on Facebook. So it's kind of cool. And P.S. by the way, shout out to Angus Nelson. You know Angus. Ooh. Angus is tuning in on LinkedIn Live, and so is Jason Rodriguez, D-Pay Knudsen, Latrice, and Mitch. So we've got a cool crowd that's happening on LinkedIn Live too.
Social media lawyers in the room. That's exciting.
It is. Mitch is awesome. He's amazing. Cool beans. All right.
Instagram too. We just had people from Canada. Shout out Instagram Live. That's one I haven't played around with a lot either. I know you're a Facebook, but Facebook and Instagram are still different-ish. Is that somewhere where you play too? Is Instagram Live?
Yeah. So the thing is that I'm not very fond of doing mobile live streaming because I like my graphics. I like my bumpers, my intros, and my outros. And so there is a way to hack it. So everything that I set up for Lights Camera Live on Ecamm, I'm able to use their virtual cam and shoot that over to Instagram Live.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I can add up to
I know I've got a similar workaround with OBS where I can go live, but OBS is... We'll get there. OBS is a bit of a big beast, so that's definitely coming down the road here. It really is. There are, for those people that are just new to live, it's so new kind of everywhere that most of the people using it have had to jerry-rig their own ways into platforms and how to use things effectively. Even cross-streaming. I know I know does a lot of cross streaming between LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, and
Yeah.
that takes a whole lot of like, I'm gonna duct tape this thing to that thing over there, and that way she doesn't have to pick one network. She can pick all the
Whichever one,
networks at
yeah,
once.
whichever one that you want, and different time zones. Like it's so amazing what we could do with live streaming these days.
Okay,
Cool.
so question one looks like it's down and out, and we are coming up on question two, which I'll just open up all the questions here because we can probably move a little bit faster over here. So getting started on live, we kind of got into this from the go, but if you're going to get started in live video today and you've never done video before,
Yeah.
how do you get going?
Okay, so the answer that I had for this that's already pre-scheduled out for the rest of the crew is that even before you start thinking about the tech, you need to focus on the 5 Ps. And that's really having a plan, knowing what your end destination is going to be, what your purpose is for you and your audience, right? And you talk about this a lot, especially in your videos. And then the third is really having passion for the topic, because it's not just about like being SEO friendly and trying to rank for certain things, but actually having a passion for it. That way, when you show up on live video, people are engaged with it. And then patience. Have patience. Because even Dan and I was like, Dan, wait, Eastern time zone, I need to figure this out and do the math in my head. And I was like, oh crap, that's like right now. And then the very last piece is going to be promotion, knowing that just because you go live and relying on the notifications, it really isn't going to get your audience there. And having a promotional plan before, during, and after is going to be what makes the difference.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. I mean, the other thing is, as far as best practices go, like I'm coming up on that 1 million view mark over on Twitch, and the reality is that took almost a year.
Yeah.
And the first 3 months, it was me and maybe my wife would pop in occasionally.
Oh.
And literally, like, that was it. And it took that consistency of, no matter what, I'm going to show up at the scheduled time every day or every week or every month, whatever you've set. Same bat time, same bat channel. Do that over and over and over. And again, if you love the topic, if you love the community you're trying to serve, it's going to work out, but you've got to be consistent. If people don't know when to tune in, they're going to miss it in a big way. And you're going to miss out going, well, this doesn't really work. Just enjoy the content that you're putting out there for sure, but have that schedule. Let people know when they can expect to see you, and you're going to see a lot more people showing up for sure. For me, as far as tech goes, I've talked about a couple of different things that you need, but I mean, it may not be preferential to use these things, but my answer as far as tech goes is this thing is a media studio, guys. If you don't like holding these bad boys, there's enough tripods and doodads and gimmicks and lenses and loops that you can attach to your phone. Really, that's all you need to get started. So don't get intimidated that you need some green screen, super background with high quality digital You don't. It's not true.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're going to invest in anything for a live video chat, it wouldn't be the camera quality I'd be concerned with. Most phones have decent camera quality.
Yeah.
It would be the audio quality. A lot of live videos out there with some pretty choppy audio that makes it very tough to watch.
Very true. Okay, cool. So I've updated this to show. Can they still hear us? I hope you guys can still hear us. Can you say something, Dan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, cool. So I just basically put up VidChat as like a third guest on the show so we could follow along with the conversation.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly how we should do this. That's perfect.
That's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay.
We had this planned all along. Just so you guys feel like you're troubleshooting with us. Jason Coop's in the house. Yeah, it's amazing. So many people that I see that do live video consistently are just shouting their praises at it. And the people that maybe get LinkedIn Live or they decide they want to try Twitter Live at a conference, they show up and they go, well, I went live and it didn't work for me, so I'm just not going to do it again. It's like, well, great. How many times did you do it? Well, the one time. And nobody listened. And it's like, don't let your first experience with it just completely blow you away that nobody shows up. It really does take a while.
It does. It does. Cool beans. I don't like. It's 10:16. I'm like, you throw the show. Like you follow your schedule.
Yeah, I'm tracking and trying to make sure that if we hear other great things that I see here.
Yeah.
Oh, A Quiet Place to Record is a good one too. That's a big one, and I know we've all seen those like horror stories when you go live of I know there's the one guy who was doing financials for BBC and his toddler walked in the room like on live
Yeah.
TV, and I was like, that's cool. I'm totally okay with that. But apparently he almost got fired over it. It was like, oh no,
Oh my
like
God.
with live guys, what you need to understand is things are going to go wrong. You're
Yeah.
not going to get it perfect, especially if you're starting out. Don't expect perfection. Live is way more volatile than recorded content. Things will go wrong. So just learn to roll with it. At any point, one of my 8 kids could walk through that door
Wait, you have
asking me for
8
something.
kids? I did
Yes.
not know that. That is
Yeah.
insane. Okay.
Yeah. So one of them, possibly a toddler, is going to come toddling in here for a hug and sit on my lap, and that's just the way it's going to be. And that's okay, because the reality is people on the other side, the people watching, they get that. They're real people. And the more that you're not like, well, excuse me, I'm so sorry, I apologize, and you just roll with it,
Yeah.
the better it's. That would be probably the last thing I'd want to add with, if you're getting started, you aren't Fox, you aren't CBC, you aren't CBS. Like, you don't have to be a television production quality. You are somebody somewhere trying something. Just run with it for sure.
Yeah. And like
Um,
even this idea that we had for doing a LinkedIn Live with the vid chat, I was like, hey Dan, I want to test something out. Do you want to be my guinea pig? And he was like, for sure, let's do it. I'm like, yes.
yeah. Uh, don't try this at home if you're just starting live chats. Don't try to do a Twitter and there's so much scheduling and other pieces. Really focus on the one thing that you're doing. Once you've got it down, like you could do it blindfolded like Stephanie can here with LinkedIn Live, then maybe add some other pieces. Keep it simple is exactly it.
Very true.
Excuse me. Wicked cough. All right. Next up, we have interviews, tutorials, conferences. What are we doing with live? What's the format that works best for content?
Oh my, okay. So this is going to vary because kind of like the platforms themselves, they all have their own pros and cons, right? So like interviews are great for expanding your audience. Just the fact that like I have Dan on the show, I'm now introducing myself to his audience and vice versa, right? Like I've never done this before with Dan. We met in Social Media Week Lima for the first time. So doing interviews, those are great. It's a great way for you to repurpose that content. And if you're the type of person who is an introvert and you just want to ask the questions and let your guests do more of the talking, then interviews are great for that, right?
Yeah.
Tutorials are also great for establishing your authority on a particular topic. That's why every now and then I'll take a break from interviews just to show behind the scenes of like, hey, this is how I make my promo videos. This is how I'm experimenting with wave videos and so on and so forth. So people know that I know things outside of just live video, right?
Yeah.
And those are great because I feel like when you're live streaming tutorials and you repurpose it into like, let's say a YouTube video, now you get a longer shelf life on it.
Yeah.
And then as far as conferences go, when you gave me that question, I was like virtual summits? Is that where you were going at?
No, so an ongoing trend that I'm seeing more and more, especially with Twitter video, is they'll set up booths now at conferences so people can go live in an environment that's set up specifically to be like, hey everyone, we're at the conference. I just walked into, Angus Young. Angus is
a
Young.
beast.
Angus Nelson is at everything. He's everywhere. So I mean, you see him at a conference, you grab him, you walk over to the Twitter video stage, you hit the live button, and bam, you're giving people kind of that you can't make it to the conference, no problem. We're here. We're doing it live. I know Goldie. Goldie's the other one that does this regularly where she's like, hi, I'm at another event. It's Disneyland today, and here we are live.
Yeah.
Like, I love Goldie for that, where it's like, okay, I know that if I tune into her feed and she's at a conference, I'm getting that feeling like I'm there among the crowd, and that's there. So
yeah. You're like, man, I was expecting a tweet chat where I could just type, and now I'm talking.
Well, and that's the fun thing with Twitter is that I can do like 30-second clips and then cough in between and then do another 30-second clip. With live, unfortunately, allergy season just has me beat. So it's part of the reality. But yeah, so for you, each of them definitely has a different feel. So you like to do some tutorials, some... I think I've seen you go live. You went live from Social Media Week Lima for sure.
Yeah. I don't do most of like the conference live streaming simply because I'm battling everyone else, right? Like everyone else
Uh,
in terms of the Wi-Fi. And if anything, like my Lights Camera Live audience knows that audio quality, video quality are really, really important for me. If I don't have those two, then I'm just like, let's not do it because yes, live streaming is fun and it's cool, but if the experience sucks for your viewers, I don't want that, stamped in their head of like, okay, when she live streams, it's not good, so let's not pay attention. So I mostly do the interviews, which are great because it's like it's kind of a semi-controlled environment. And then tutorials. Tutorials are always fun because sometimes you'll have, like, let's say Angus, where it's like, Stephanie, tell me all your live streaming hacks. Like, I could expand on what it is that he wants
yeah.
into a dedicated tutorial. But yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend tutorials for people that are just getting started because you don't need to figure out Zoom and Skype and all these connections with other people and audio levels and all that. It really is just you and your computer, and that can be so much simpler for you. And the other thing is, a lot of people are kind of camera shy when they get started with live video, and tutorials allows you to not necessarily be on the screen the whole time. You can throw up I know in the mornings on Twitter, I do a 9 a.m. live, and sometimes it's a website breakdown, or sometimes it's a tutorial of this is literally how you do this.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to have my camera there, but I could just as easily be gone and just showing the web or the web browser or the desktop that I'm working on, just showing the tool. And that way you're still there. You can have that voice. You don't have to be that face first on the content. And then as you get more familiar with that tutorial, you can definitely grow and go, oh, okay, now I'm a little more comfortable putting my face on there. Okay, maybe now I want to try an interview. And definitely going live at conferences. Again, audio can be a massive beast to wrestle with. Lighting can be a massive beast, but at the same time, you're going to see some pretty great engagement. People get really excited about conferences. So the next time you're at a conference, most of them now have a room or a section that you can go off to that's built for live video. So try to track that down and just give it a try. I know on Twitter you just swipe right. If you've got LinkedIn Live, I think you can go live from your phone. Is it?
You can, yeah. So you would have to use like a third-party app. If you're going to go mobile live streaming on your phone, use Switcher Studio. Like that's basically what Chris Strub is using, Goldie Chan, Brian Schulman, and then Rob Balasabas whenever they're on the go and they want to go live streaming. So yeah.
Good old Rob. I love those guys over at Thinkific.
I know. Shout out to like DP Knudsen, who's also watching too. He's like, have you guys used Elgato for live streaming? Yes. Yes. I've got like
I have not.
No, you haven't?
Nope.
Oh, it is life changing. And so I have like 2 Elgato key lights, like right here in front of me. And then I have it connected to my Stream Deck, so that way whenever I want to go live, I push the button, the lights come on. If I want to switch the screens, then I can switch the screens too. It's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look at that for sure. There's so many great new video tools coming out, and I'm really excited about that. But at the same time, it's like, there's no way I'm ever going to knock off everything on this list. I know I was talking with the guys at Vidyard the other day because they were at Inbound, and it's like, I didn't know about Vidyard. And there's VidStream, and there's VidDuck, and there's so many great tools.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you guys that were wondering which format is best, I recommend tutorials first, and then work your way into interviews, and then maybe consider live at an event. For Stephanie, tutorial and interviews, and very, very rarely at a conference. So big red warning label on conferences from us both, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do conferences, you could get the LiveView solo unit. Have you heard about that?
No.
It's probably like the size of my phone, and then you get like 2 hotspots, and you connect it, and it becomes like the Voltron of Wi-Fi bandwidth. And then you could like hit up Comic-Con, you could hit up like Social Media Marketing World, and still have connectivity without even hurting your broadcast whatsoever. So it's cool.
See, that's crazy, because I've kind of been all over this year with speaking, and I've never had problem with my Wi-Fi, ever. And I'm with Bell, I'm with a Canadian provider, and I've never once had an issue where I couldn't go live on Twitter. And I don't know if that's a bandwidth thing where it's just certain platforms have a higher dependency, but that's definitely worth looking at. I love that idea of a Voltron. I mean, Great reference. But a Voltron robot.
I'm like, if anyone is gonna get Voltron, that would be you, judging by your background, by your
Yeah,
background.
I think I got a Transformer back there, maybe, but definitely no Voltron.
True.
To all you guys on LinkedIn, though, if you guys want to drop your answers and thoughts in there, I'm seeing some great conversation there as well. So we are watching you both. Just because the Twitter stream's up doesn't mean we're not watching you over on LinkedIn. But yeah, I should definitely just do a blog, the 100 different tools for video that I didn't know about. Because it seems like everybody's got these tools. I know Bridgetti's from Africa.
Yeah, Cape Town, I think.
She's got a bunch of different tools that she uses that are more common down there. And that's one thing that I hear often from people in Africa. It's difficult to do video because of consistency with Wi-Fi or internet.
Oh, yeah.
So I love those hacks for tools that maybe work in a tight squeeze or tight stretch.
Yeah.
Let's go question. Where are we here? Question 4. Oh,
Ooh.
This is a good one.
Okay.
This is a good one. How long should a video be? How long should a live video session be?
Okay, so this is going to vary by your platform, and because Facebook is pretty much my wheelhouse, everything that I've read, going into the help articles, talking to them over at Facebook FA, they recommend at least 20 minutes because that's going to give them enough time to go ahead and promote your show to a specific audience and get it out there. It gives people enough time to stop what they're doing and pay attention to it, right? For LinkedIn Live, specifically in their guidelines, they state that 10 to 15 minutes, both of them prefer that specifically because it gives your audience enough time to grow, interact, and engage. So that's generally where I try to have it, at least. I knew that for VidChat, it was going to be longer than 10 to 15 minutes, which I was like, hey, let's do a LinkedIn Live. I will tell you, Dan, for Lights Camera Live, the show averages 45 minutes, period. And some people are just like, what? That's long. But I think when you have really, really good rapport with your guests, like me and Dan, we could talk about this forever. We know that we're going to drop knowledge bombs, and 10 to 15 minutes about live streaming isn't really going to cut it unless we just focus on like one thing.
Yeah. And I found that on LinkedIn too, where I've done it. Rob was one of the guys that I hopped on with. Bobby Umar is another one. And when I hopped in, it was like, okay, great. Half hour is kind of what they're aiming for. And we hit that half hour mark, and it'd be like, we didn't scratch the surface of what we wanted to get in on here. So what in the world are we going to do? And we just kept going. We kept rolling with it. And yeah, I find LinkedIn, I think if I were to do a live there that wasn't tutorial based, if it was an interview based, it would probably be 45 minutes to an hour. Just because I find that people are going back. People watch us. They don't disappear from the feed on LinkedIn. It's not like, oh, it's there and then it's gone. And I see people that, videos from 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago that people are just seeing it now in their feed and going, this is great. I'm going to go through this. There's definitely going to be, and Jason Coop's right, content is going to determine length for sure. Yeah. When I was doing the esports thing on Twitch, my average stream was 8 hours.
Whoa. Okay, so I know Brian Shulman from Voice Your Vibe, he goes live for 4 hours, and when we were hitting up VidCon, he had his whole setup and he was live streaming for 4 hours, and I was like, wow, man. You talk about like allergies and coughing. I was like, way to go. Way to have that thumb on that mute button when you need it.
Yeah, I went the other way. I didn't mute anything. Everybody knew I had kids and mayhem would occur, and that was just the way it is. But 8 hours, and then my longest stream ever was 24 hours straight.
Okay, that's so interesting, because I'm like, I don't even have time for that.
Well, you make time, right? Like it was for a fundraiser for cancer, and it was like, okay, great, I'm going to knock this out of the park. But it's amazing to see, having done things as short as the 60-second lives for Instagram, and then heading all the way over to a 24-hour stream. A lot of the principles are very, very similar, but most of it has to do with your audience and really understanding your audience. You aren't going to change in a big way. Essentially who you are is going to be the same whether you show up on my Instagram or my TikTok or my LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. But I need to understand from platform to platform the attention span and the level of engagement people have. LinkedIn, it looks like it's great. Friday seems to be a great day where everybody's very busy at work and not on their computer surfing LinkedIn. But The reality is there are some great moments. Lunchtimes and early mornings seem to be a great time where people are trying to learn and absorb what's going on LinkedIn. It seems like a great time for you to do a 30, 45-minute live. Whereas I think if you were going to go live on something like Instagram, it is mobile, but it's a lot more fast moving. I don't think you're going to have that retention. TikTok, I would doubt you want to go over 10 minutes because you're going to lose people right away. That platform's like, give me 15 seconds and let's go.
That's so funny. That's so true. That's so cool. I haven't gone live on TikTok, but I've heard the same things from people that I met at different conferences that are experimenting with TikTok. They're like, 45 minutes for Lights Camera Live? No, that wouldn't work on TikTok. And just getting that feedback is super helpful.
But what does work really well, and you touched on it briefly, was just because you've got a video interview that you do here on LinkedIn, let's say for 45 minutes, doesn't mean that you can't go back and repurpose that to an appropriate length for each platform. So one 45-minute or hour-long vid chat here, we could definitely chop this up into 20, 30 different sound bites, and then you've got a month of TikTok ready to roll.
Oh, that's
so that's kind of
true.
cool that you can repurpose and do that.
Yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm just refreshing the tweet chat stream. That way it shows up in our third panel. But yeah, keep the comments coming, you guys.
A lot of people are saying strategy, and that's a big point too. I think a lot of people dive into live easier than recorded content because it's just here and I push a button, and then they push the button and realize what they've done, and there was no foresight or thought put into what am I going to do once I push this button. So I really, really love that point too, where it's like, oh man, what am I possibly going to do with this thing, and do I build on it? Is it episodic? Is it going to be something that continues throughout the week? And that's something that I'd love to see more people diving into different styles, where right now it feels like every morning I'm getting very much like an Oprah Winfrey or an Ellen special, where it's one episode and then the next day it'll be something completely different. I'd love to see people building on something, which is common on Twitch, where you see an artist go, this week I'm working on this piece of art, and they'll put 4-hour slots in every day, and you watch this beautiful thing grow over the week. I think for, especially for website developers, graphic designers, people that work in production, that ability for you to create content and show people beginning to end, that's going to get a lot of people very interested in your business. If you're out there, especially you LinkedIn folks listening, if you work in design, creativity stuff, don't be afraid to go behind the scenes and show people your process.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very interesting to people that can't do it.
Yeah, just showing your tutorials are super helpful. I mean, like, and even just talking about LinkedIn alone, not even live streaming, just showing like a short clip on how you're adding captions to your videos. Those are super helpful. Like Rob Balasabas is all about that now, so it's amazing. It's cool.
Yeah, and it is crazy how when you think about each simple little task that goes into it, even with just live video, how to get great lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, how to set up your mic. These could all be really simple things for you if you do them, but for those who have never done them before, there's definitely a 10-minute trailer at least on, well, this is what you're looking for and the details of it. So I love that stuff. Okay, let's keep the ball rolling here. I see a lot of stuff happening on LinkedIn. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
I know. I was like, LinkedIn
really
is
blows me
blowing
away.
up. I love it. Isn't it cool? Like,
this is great, and that you've got the Twitter feed up. It's making it a lot easier to manage for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody did mention, and just before we move on to the next question, while Twitter's catching up here, Mandy Jo Rindage said she's great at doing lives at home where she controls the environment, but as soon as she goes out in public, things kind of go off the rails. Have you had any experience with that?
Say that one more time, because as you and I were joking around about our toddlers, my toddler just came in.
Hi, toddler.
So what did Mary Jo Ridge say?
So Mandy Jo was saying that at home, when she controls the environment, she feels comfortable in the environment, and so does really well with it. But when she goes out of that environment, that record button or go live button starts to look a little scary.
Yeah.
Did you ever find that yourself?
I do, yeah. So a lot of times, and this is kind of like what I was telling you, if I don't have the live view solo unit that gives me like the mother of all bandwidth, then on my phone I could go to speedtest.net, figure out what my connection is going to look like, and try to be away from, like, let's say the convention center, and then just once I have that, then I go. If anything, I'm probably testing it first. Like, I'll go live into like my Facebook Live green room that I created where it's just me. do a quick one,
Yeah.
test it out, see how the flow is. If the audio is good, if the lighting is awesome, then I'll go live on the actual page.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Of nobody's making you push the live button, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Please, please remember that. Live is a great tool, and I love it. Stephanie loves it. But don't feel pressured just because you see everyone else doing it. It may never be right for you. That's
Yeah.
another huge possibility. You may never be ready to go live because you just work better on the pre-produced. I'm going to shoot it, edit it the way that I like it, and put it up. There's a whole
Yeah.
platform for that. It's called YouTube. It's massive. People do
It's
that all
called
day, every day.
YouTube.
It's perfectly okay to not be 100% ready to go live.
Yeah.
Okay, keeping the ball rolling
I
here.
know. Like, more comments, more comments. Cool. I love that
So,
Jason is here.
oh yeah. Okay, so Mom, what software do you recommend to live stream? And this is one where you and I differ. No, no, no. Yeah, what software do you recommend to live stream is the next question that we're tackling here, guys. And now more than ever, with LinkedIn Live, with Twitch, with YouTube having a live feature, Facebook has it. There's more and more developers out there going, well, we're going to create a platform, we're going to create a tool, and you guys are going to be the ones that get to decide which of these tools is going to be used. So I've played around with a couple of them. What are your favorites?
So my favorites for Lights Camera Live specifically, when I first started, it was OBS Studio. So when you dropped that hat, I was like, yes, love OBS. That's like the IKEA of live streaming in my head,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then when I discovered Ecamm, that just made it so easy for me to manage multiple scenes, manage multiple clients and their different shows. And that's mostly because I'm on a Mac. So I was looking for something that would be really, really easy to use. I will tell you though, since live streaming, and I've only been live streaming for 3 years, there are new web-based platforms that are coming up. Like StreamYard is pretty badass. Like from what I've seen,
Yeah,
what they're doing and the new developments that they're doing, that's awesome too. BeLive also even has this really cool feature and functionality where if you have a Facebook product catalog, you could show products as you're
yeah,
live streaming. So if you're one of those sellers that you're like, hey, I want to show like a flash deals and sales, then you could totally do that too.
yeah. The Be Live with the marketing capability really had me excited for anybody in the health and wellness and beauty and cosmetics. So many of you guys are out there and you do those great tutorials of here's my face, now here's my face on makeup, and that's great. But Be Live gives you that opportunity to be like, this is the product I'm using. Go buy that product right there, right now, and it'll be fantastic for you. And it's like, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what that tool is built for. I'm OBS tried and true, but I always warn people it is not an easy tool. It wasn't built to be easy. It was a tool that was built by gamers for gamers. And for those of you that don't know, the gamer culture is very knowledgeable as far as how their computers work, what they do, why they do it. I know Mac is a frequent issue for a lot of people when they use it. I'm one of those PC Master Race guys. I've got my Alienware
Yeah.
Aurora R8 down here that I play on, and like I've always been the desktop Windows guy, so a
Yeah.
lot of the times I'll even look at how to use desktop over mobile just because I'm that much more comfortable on a computer. So OBS for me has a steep learning curve, but if you're willing to invest in it, it does a lot of great things, and it's free
Yeah.
with a price on it. As far as yeah, I'm
vMix?
getting them mixed up here. StreamYard
Yeah.
is an amazing tool. I got to hop on with Jim Fuse and Tim Sohn on their Facebook Live, and we did StreamYard, and it worked really well. It was a very bare bones, simple point and click, and let's get going. And
Yeah.
I love that for what it was. Vidyard is another one I'm hearing a lot of chatter about that I'm excited to give a try. So yeah, I think there's just a ton of tools out there, and these are ones that are just showing up now after a little bit of live. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more players over the next year, 2 years for sure. Okay, I just want to see if there's any ones I haven't heard of that are popping up in this LinkedIn live chat
Oh
because
my gosh. Well, StreamYard is getting a lot of love.
yeah,
So that's awesome. I haven't heard of Vidyard. So the fact that you just dropped that, like, I'm curious to hear. what other people have thought about that or what they're playing around with. Let's see. We've got a couple of questions. Like Brigetti was asking, what do you use for intros and outros? What do you use for your Twitch show?
So OBS allows you to switch between scenes on button clicks. So for me, if I want to set an intro panel, what I'll do is I'll have a screen that's just an image.
Yeah.
And then as the live will start, I'll just quick click to the next scene and bam, there's my camera there ready to roll.
Got it. Got it. That's cool. Yeah, I'm people always ask about Lights Camera Live and how I do my setup. And I basically have the video of the desktop playing, which has the track, and then because you could do picture in picture on Ecamm, I just take my camera and I place it in the actual desktop. So like that's
I love it.
That's the secret behind the magic show.
and there, honestly, guys, you could have 4 or 5 different people use the same tool, and there may be 4 or 5 different ways to do that. So really understanding the software that you're using is a big one. Again, YouTube, I can't undervalue YouTube for the tutorials that are on there from different people that have used these tools. Mm-hmm. If you're going to use it, if you're really all in on live video and you've decided this is the tool I'm going to use to go live, understand the tool. Dedicate an hour, 2 hours, more if you can to watch.
I know, I was like 2 hours. I think I spent like a whole day just on Ecamm. So like even like when people are like, "Oh, have you heard about this new one?" I was like, I have to block out my calendar because for me it's really, I want to know what are the features, the functionalities, what are the limitations, and how does it overlap with what I'm currently using now?
Yeah.
Because then it's nice to know the pros and cons of each. Because people will always ask you, and they'll ask you, which ones do you recommend? It's like, well, it really depends on what it is that you want to do, right?
And it really depends on you as well, because if like I said, if you're coming out the gate and you've never touched live video before, do not go look at OBS right now. Yes, it's free. Don't go look at it. Go look at StreamYard, because that's where that learning curve is.
Yeah.
Now, if you have endless hours to dedicate to learning something, I would recommend you don't even go live and you just learn everything you can about video. Like go into something like Adobe Premiere and learn about video and lighting and how things get placed and how things move and understand video a little bit better. So that way, when you do dive into a tool that's a live tool, you know how to set up your lighting and your audio and everything else. Yep. Twitter's just getting caught up with us here, guys. So
Twitter, I'm like, are we late or like who is on time?
Yeah, no, it's just catching up. We're a little bit ahead, but they're on question 4. So I'm going to keep going with them over there. And so, I mean, with creators for live video, there's a lot of different players out there that do different things in different ways. Obviously, you are somebody that I had to chase down if we were going to do this live session. I'd love to hear from your perspective. Who are some other people that you see that are doing live and they're really knocking it out of the park?
Oh, okay. So I have been really, really interested in what Addison Zhang is doing. If you guys don't know what she's doing, she does Classroom Without Walls. And so she's been testing out like Restream a lot. And so she'll go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, I think also on YouTube. But then she also goes live on her personal pages. So she like did all this cool, amazing stuff. She likes to go live like even outside. So she kind of lives and breathes that whole Classroom Without Walls. She's like, I'm going to take you on these journeys that I go to. So I love her. Goldie Chan is like always doing something awesome. And, she's like over at the Lego studio. She's doing something over here. And you're like, wow, Goldie. So I love seeing like the mobile setups. I find those very, very interesting. I love the fact that Brian Schulman from Voice Your Vibe, he does 4-hour live streams at events. I think LinkedIn Global is happening right now. Yep. So I love following him. Rob Balasabas, again, like I said, you and I, we both love him. I just love all the things that he's experimenting. See, when I first met Rob, he was like, this is my first time at Social Media Marketing World. I want to get to know people. And you look at him now, and he's launched Collaboration Nation. He's doing so many wonderful summits with Thinkific. And now he's doing like his own family vlog. So I love following other people's journeys. A lot of them, like I and Rob were like, I don't know, maybe I should do live streaming. And now they're just like, they're blowing up. You're like, look at you. It's only been like a couple of years and boom, there you are. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, LinkedIn Global, Brian Wallace comes to mind with an outsourcing. and he was set up at Social Media Week Lima as well, where it's like I love seeing that, where it's like, okay, him and I set aside the time. They had a room. It was set up. They were able
Brilliant.
to do and I love that. If you guys haven't taken the time, and yes, I do keep track of kind of every platform and everybody doing everything everywhere. I really appreciate any musicians that you can go and look up that do their live practice, or they're doing demos and they're doing live recordings over on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Just go type in music in YouTube and then use the search filter and hit live. It's a really amazing thing when you see somebody creating live like that. It's almost second to none. And I would love to see more people. It's being done a little bit in the business world, where guys like Gary Vee are out there. And they're bringing people into their boardrooms, and they're showing people this is what goes on inside a creative meeting at this level. This is how two CEOs have a conversation. And I think the more that we do that, from especially to a LinkedIn audience, the more that we do that, where it's like, okay, guys, we don't have to be about just these really rigid, strict, old-fashioned video styles. We can let people into boardrooms and into think groups and into behind-the-scenes stuff. It's not going to blow up our business overnight. I think more and more users that are doing that. I know Quentin with the Misfits, they're doing some great stuff with live video.
Yeah.
Ninja is somebody. So again, guys, this is a very different industry with gaming, but go check out what Ninja is doing, where he literally brought an entire new live platform to the world by signing a single partnership deal.
Wow.
So he moved from Twitch to Mixer, and the entire internet blew up and lost their mind over it. And it's like, okay, guys, there's a real opportunity to realize that all these new platforms are coming out. You can kind of play everywhere. And at the same time, when you watch some of these younger streamers or younger live video people doing this, they don't want to do it the same way everybody else has done it. They try to figure out new ways and new things of doing things. And really, a lot more community engagement is happening with the gaming, whether it's Facebook gaming or Instagram or Twitch or wherever. There's a lot more community interaction back and forth, because that community has already been trained and kind of prepped for that. So definitely something to watch for. If you're trying to do something innovative with your LinkedIn live video, I would take a deep look at other platforms and kind of see what people are doing there at the cutting edge. Because LinkedIn, it's a lot of people just getting the tool and trying it.
Yeah.
There's some other platforms where people have been doing live video for almost a decade, like 8 years, 7 years. They've got some definite stuff for you to check out. So, yeah, my big ones would definitely be Ninja, Gary Vee, Brian Wallace is a great one. Judy Fox.
Judy Fox, yeah.
Yeah, Judy Fox does some great live content too. So definitely check out those guys. I wish more people did Twitter Live. Nobody pops to mind for Twitter Live specifically, and I think that if you don't have LinkedIn Live yet and you want to try it out, definitely go try Twitter Live, because it's easy to use.
And so when you say Twitter Live, I think of Periscope. So are we like breaking those two up?
No, same thing.
Okay.
They're the exact same thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And again, like, that Twitter made the change to their platform just before social media marketing world, where now you literally just swipe right on your phone and you're live.
Yeah.
Like that is such a simple way to go for people that are trying this out for the first time. So give it a shot. If you don't have LinkedIn Live access yet and you want to try some live stream, you can go live on Twitter. And again, Twitter feeds move fast, but it will always be there. And then you can share that live over to LinkedIn. Yeah. You're allowed to do that. That's currently the workaround that I've got to get my Twitter lives over to LinkedIn. I think I'm on proposal 4 or 5 to LinkedIn, so maybe 6 is the lucky.
I'm just gonna keep trying and keep trying. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I think it's just gonna go live by the time I get it. But that some of that is being Canadian too. Not as many Canadians have been given the thumbs up on it. But
got it.
I'm not seeing any more questions from Twitter. People are just kind of like, yes, I agree. This is awesome. This is the thing that we need to do. Yeah. Did you see any other questions in the LinkedIn Live?
On the LinkedIn Live, one of the questions that we had was about Switcher Studio. Has anyone ever used Switcher Studio? And yes, I've used Switcher Studio when I had to work on a client, and it was in the plumbing industry, which of all places. And they wanted to do a giveaway for their 40th anniversary. And for this particular client, she wanted to have 5 different product demos set up. And to do that, we used Switcher Studio, because the client already had on hand mini iPads. So I used those mini iPads and I connected them, had a different shot for every single one of them. And then I had my switchboard on this main iPad on a tripod dolly, and I would go from each station to each station, and it made it really dynamic. So that's what I mean by like knowing the pros and cons of every single live streaming platform, because depending on what your client needs, you could choose which one works best for it. So as much as I love Ecamm, I just know that there are certain instances where another live streaming platform might be better, and I'm not afraid to experiment.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play around with Switcher Studio, and again, maybe I'm just turning into one of those old dog new tricks thing, but they're definitely on my list. I always go and play around with a tool. I may never, unless it beats what I'm currently using, I never make that full switch. But yeah. I love that idea of what you were just saying, where it's like you could set up multiple cameras, but even as you're saying that, I'm like, how do I make that work in OBS? How do I? But yeah, I think that idea of having multiple tablets open in multiple places really would be great for, again, conferences and events. If you're an event planner, I know Jason was in the room briefly here, but for you to have, nobody can make it to all the sessions. It's not possible. And every conference, I look at the lineup and it's like, I want to be in every room. I want to be everywhere. I want to be everywhere at once. Yeah. But if you had something like a Switcher Studio setup where it's like, okay, well, what we're going to have instead is video feeds from each of these rooms, put up a digital pass to the event, and we're going to have the ability for people to hop back and forth. I promise you that live attendees, while they are in one room watching one thing, they would also probably have a bunch of different ones that they're flipping back and forth through on a live video platform of your choosing. I love that idea with Switcher Studio. I think that there's some real fun ways.
Because you're an OBS user. Again, coming from those roots, have you heard of Epoch Cam?
Yes.
So with that, you could do your multiple cameras. Because we did this in church for my brother-in-law, but like he was sitting in the front row, and then like the guys in the back was sitting for like the wider view, and we just used that for OBS. So it's possible. And he had a drone, and drone had the Wi-Fi, and boom, we like dropped that into OBS, and it was the craziest thing ever.
Really?
Yeah, you don't hear this like when I'm at Social Media Marketing World, because people aren't at that level yet, but I am always testing breaking things and just having fun with it. Like even the show is just a huge test.
Yeah. The one that I really would like to see at a next big event is for somebody to just take like one of those remote control RC cars and put a GoPro camera with Wi-Fi on it and just drive the event and do a live GoPro from an RC car on the floor. Just like, this is everything that's happening in 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many great tools out there, guys. If we didn't talk about your favorite... oh, man. Claritin, help. If you guys didn't hear what you needed to hear today, it's probably outside of the intro and intermediate level. Mm-hmm. So what you should definitely do is reach out to Stephanie after this and say, Stephanie, that was wonderful. I had a lot of fun, but I have some advanced questions. Walk me through it. And as you heard, she has played with breaking so many things. So I can't thank you enough, Stephanie. I had an absolute blast with this. Twitter is completely tapped out. They have had enough. LinkedIn Live, I think we got all the questions, and it was a blast to see so many people show up. So thank you so much. This was VidChat every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we can watch you do your lights, camera, live.
The outro? Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and load that up. So did you guys see that I had to shift? If you guys don't know, I'm actually in a wheelchair because I've been... When I laughed when you said Stephanie breaks things, because I was like, I totally broke my ankle. I was like, was that a dig? Did you just take a dig at me? All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for helping us with, joining us for VidChat, and also just testing out LinkedIn Live as we do the VidChat. So this was fun. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, let's say bye. Bye. Take care.